Today I'll share with you the secret to master Max Weber. I have made two statements about him so far, and both are partially correct. First, I told you I don't like Max Weber because there is no social system, social structure, or the whole thing. Then, after some weeks, I told you read at least 2 chapters of Sociology of Religion by Max Weber. Now I'll tell you that in case you had read these 2 chapters, then you would have realized how useful Max Weber is. Now, in case you take my 3 sentences made on 3 different times and club them together, then my teaching becomes incoherent. Now, what do I do? Just after my last class, I met one of the very senior unretired teacher of this school. He or she is about to retire in 13 months. And he or she met me and asked, what should I do once I retire? I said, enjoy your life. Then he or she asked me, how? Then he or she said, I came to you because now I have understood your madness. There is always, I am a structural sociologist, therefore there is always a method in whatever I do. Now, in the first chapter which I recommended to you in the Sociology of Religion, chapter 2, the title, don't read now or don't write, just listen. Because in religion, listening is very important. Just close the door. That day I had bolted. What does it mean? That the structure is closed today. But usually I do not close the door completely. My door is usually closed, but windows are open. Now, in the last class, indirectly I told you, even in Buddhism there is discrimination. When I narrated you my own story, that they infected my ears. Therefore, there is no religion on earth which is not imperfect. And my whole life, I was cursing my teachers. And I was, every day, I am almost uneasy when I come to the class. Because I do not want to commit the same mistake which my teachers had committed with me. And every day I fail. And this is the strength of my success. This is the strength of my happiness. The moment you think that you have succeeded, you have arrived, you have become perfect, you have mastered the art of doing anything, you are finished. Some imperfection is needed to motivate you. they infected my ears in 75, and around 2014 September, the dates are 14, 15, 16 September, there was a Mahayog. I'm talking about astronomy. And then I met a person, very old person from a village near the Black Forest. You know Black Forest? Germany, Switzerland, France, and then there is Black Forest. After that, mountains begin. She had come to Sikkim and she was trying to study India for the last 6 years. She was almost 96 years old. Women of her age are very fragile bodily in India, but she had lots of energy. Then one day she called me. We were sitting nearby but not talking to each other because after all, sociology is a modern science and I am also partly modern, although I may not appear to you. So, in case you consider my dress and my style of teaching. But I'm not a traditional person. I'm a Buddhist, but modern or rather post-modern Buddhist, but she was a traditional European woman. She asked me, why you do not talk to me? I told her I have nothing to share with you. Then she said, you must have at least asked me from where I get the strength. I said, I know it is a soul force. She said, no. Do you know? Please listen carefully. I am talking to her for the first time, although we are around for 4 or 5 days. You know that your ear was infected in 75, the month was May and the date was 14. I knew shamans of Europe do this. I said, so what? She said, because you are cursing your teachers, therefore I must tell you, they infected you because they were very compassionate to you. I said, what do you mean by it? She said, once your left ear is infected, your right brain will be monitored. And I said, then? She said, it will be very easy for you to control your emotions. Frankly, I did not believe her because I thought she is a rustic woman from Europe. But then I met my teacher in the Rumtek monastery of Sikkim. He was also very old, 104 years old. And he told me, you had gone in September to Ajmer Sharif Dargah. I said, yes, but I had gone to Ajmer Sharif Dargah earlier also. No, 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 no. You had gone on a particular day. And the time was 2:35. And then the Khidmatgar told you to drink water. यार ऐसा है कि इसको आज साइंस नहीं मानो, फिक्शन मान लो, बेवकूफी मान लो, लेकिन सुन लो केवल, एंड देन फॉरगेट इट. I said yes, but I had not drank that water. They gave me the holy water in Ajmer Sharif Dargah, but since I am a very orthodox Buddhist, I did not drink it. My teacher told me, so what? Water is not only drank, it had also smell. You smelled the water of Ajmer Sharif Dargah. Now, what are these things? Superstition, magic, myth, super science, dream. It is up to you. But what I wanted to stress is that anything which is imperfect, like Max Weber Sociology of Religion, need not be useless. Even imperfect thing or people or books are useful. What is the term Robert Burton had for it? Anybody? Burton said there are functions, dysfunction, and non-function. Okay? And then he said manifest and latent. Then he said there are U functions. You know, there are three hierarchies. One is function, dysfunction, non-function. Then manifest, latent. Then manifest is of three types: U function, non-function, negative function. Now you count it. Three types of manifest function, three types of latent function, 6, and then 6 into 3, 18, then 18 into 3. Count. 54. You are not counting. Therefore, Robert Merton is not as simple as your teachers taught you and you memorized them. Don't equate persons, persons of the same school as one. Talbot Parson is one, he is a grand theorist. Robert Merton is a middle range theorist. And in the middle range, what he did, he subdivided the grand theory of Talbot Parsons of what? Of social action. There is a grand theory of social action in Talbot Parsons. That grand theory was subdivided into many conceptual schema by Robert Merton. In the same way, most of my classmates and teachers I will not say about the students. What they did, they read wrong translations of Max Weber into English. Number one. and then they over relied on the commentaries provided by people like Talcott Parsons in the structure of social action. And then they complemented it with a commentary by Raymond Aron. As a result, most people have got it wrong. Now, you have all read the concepts, you are all familiar with the concepts. For example, traditional action, rational legal action, charismatic action. Then you extend it, traditional authority, rational legal authority, and charismatic authority. But do you know how these concepts were discovered or constructed by Max Weber? It is not taught. As a result, you remain a consumer of concepts. Once you know how concepts are created in sociology, once you know how to discover concepts, only then you can empower yourself over your competitor or adversary. You will never understand the meaning of traditional action or traditional authority unless and until you read this book, Sociology of Max Weber, Sociology of Religion by Max Weber, provides the password of Weberian sociology. But why you are not familiar with this text, you should have been in your graduation, because your teachers never read this book. And I'm not referring to your biological teachers, who may be roughly of 35 years age when you are in graduation. I'm referring to the three charismatic teachers of sociology who wrote textbooks. One is Emile Durkheim, Rules of Sociological Method. Second, Talcott Parsons, The Structure of Social Action. Third, New Rules of Sociological Method by Anthony Giddens. Is there any sociology student in the world who doesn't read these books? And this is the problem. Most teachers of sociology have compromised the sacredness of teaching. Every teacher wants you to convert. Now, there is nothing wrong in being a popular teacher. But then you are doing one crime or one sin. What you are doing? To convert your present or future student or voter, you are presenting your adversary in a bad light. Are you getting the point? It is not that today I have become a Buddhist teacher. I am a Buddhist person since 1975. But very few Buddhists join me as a student. Most of my teachers have been non-Buddhist in sociology, and most of my students in sociology have been also non-Buddhist. Why I do like this? Even if there is a choice, I will prefer a non-Buddhist in formal capacity and help the Buddhist friend in informal capacity. Now the problem is this, that in modernity, And this is not just the problem with Max Weber or Durkheim or Talcott Parsons or anybody. Modernity is very aggressive. Therefore, in case it supports, it will be a very aggressive support. And in case it opposes, it will be very aggressive opposition. And I could not understand it because, Durkheim tells very, very clearly that in mechanical solidarity, the punishment for a crime is repressive. But in organic solidarity or modern society, it should be restitutive. But in my teaching career, I have never encountered a modern student or modern teacher who doesn't behave like, a mechanical solidarity person. It may be unconscious or subconscious. I'm not, charging them. What I'm trying to say is that human society is constituted, it is transformed, reformed, or distorted through the weapon of technical terms. For example, you are not feeling good today and you go to a doctor. What the doctor does? Doctor should tell you what is wrong with you. Instead, he asks you or she asks you, क्या हुआ है? तो आप कहते हो पेट खराब है. ब्रांडिंग शुरू हो गई भाई. वो पूरी बात आपकी सुनेगा. He will not listen to your whole narrative. The moment you say there is something wrong with my stomach, उनके दिमाग में दवाई बन गई. और वो दवाई वो खुद बनाते नहीं, वो तो रामदेव बनाएगा या कोई कंपनी बनाएगी. You have no control over the remedy you are prescribing. Are you getting my point? The moment somebody says I am secular or Christian or Muslim or Hindu, you are alarmed. I am the only teacher in university campuses who has refused to grow. I know that students, mistook me in the first 20 classes when I say Buddhist. They are alarmed because they think that they are secular, I am non-secular. Just to please you, I will not change my style. Because I am neither traditional nor modern. I will love to be a traditional person, but it is very hard to go back in history. Therefore, I am a postmodern person. And I am not a postmodern person from today. But the postmodernity is not like this duster. There are different types of postmodernities. There are different types of modernities. There are different types of traditions. Therefore, in case you encounter these three key terms which I am trying to make you simple, I am not trying to teach you, I am trying to make things simple so that you can yourself make your own understanding. Church, sect, and cult. Now you cannot understand these three concepts unless and until you understand these key concepts: God, magicians, priests, prophets, and legislators. The term prophet is not one and the same for everybody. Different cultures at different point of time have conceptualized the prophet in different ways. Are you getting the point? In the same way, the term sect and cult have been differently understood by different cultures at different point of time. Therefore, try to learn the art of making sense in a heterogeneous community. In the in group, that in the in group, in the primary group, in your own family, in your caste, in your own political party, in your own sect or cult, it is very easy to talk. Are you getting the point? But when you are talking to strangers, when you are talking to people who are not directly related to you, then you need a different language. The greatest use of sociology as a science is to provide this language to you so that you can succeed anywhere in the world. You know? Therefore, it is quite possible that you encounter a sentence in the class of any normal teacher, or you read a line in any book which disagrees with your sensibility, your taste, your value system. But please have patience in the class. It may not help you to understand your religion or your religious group or your social group or your political group in a better way, but it will help you bridge the gap between you and your adversaries. That is a great use. Are you getting the point? For example, Max Weber has written, and I have taken from chapter 4 primarily, that prophets are of different kinds. Even in the so-called Abrahamic tradition or the Semitic tradition, even among the Semitic people or Abrahamic people had multiple meanings, multiple connotations. Are you aware? In case you have read the Bible as a believer or non-believer, then you will encounter that in the Old Testament there are two types of prophets. One, prophets of Israel before Moses. In Abrahamic tradition, Moses was not the first prophet. There were multiple prophets before him. The prophets of Israel before Moses were primarily ethical teachers. Therefore, please make a note, the prophet as ethical teacher. For example, Abraham was an ethical teacher. And you must have heard about Cain and Abel. They are, their identity outside the Jewish community is some sort of, blurred. Some people will consider one as prophet and the other as David. Because both brothers were like in India and Pakistan, or Kauravas and Pandavas. Therefore, one is eulogized and the other is demonized. It is like Ravan and Ram. For the North Indians, Ram is a god and Ravan is a demon. But in Tamil Nadu, at least in the recent times, Ravan is the hero and the identity of Ram is blurred. They will not tell it straight away as devil, but they will use words which is not equivalent to a hero. In the same way, in case you read the Vedas, Now I am using a wrong word. According to the devout, followers of the Vedas, you cannot read the Veda. Why? Some critics of the Vedic religion will tell that the Brahmins can read it. No, even Brahmins cannot read it. Even the king cannot read it. Why? Because this is Shruti Parampara. Vedas are listened and not read. You cannot offer namaz by reading. Namaz is a direct communion between a devout person, a pure person, and God Almighty. Incidentally, Arabic people have a term, Musalman. But actually, the sociological meaning is any person with pure heart. In Islamic lexion, Musalman means Musallah hai iman jiska. A person with pure heart and soul is a Muslim. Any pious person is a Muslim. And incidentally, they call him Allah, otherwise he has no name, no form. Are you getting the point? Therefore, 99% conflicts, religious conflicts, are due to ignorance and bad translation. Therefore, when they are offering a namaz, it is a communion, direct communion between Allah and the Musliman. When they are listening to the Vedas, they are not sentences, my dear friends, they are recharged. They are not strangers, they are recharged. And the root term for richa is rit. And what is rit? The cosmic law. Now, what I am trying to say is that there are more similarities between two religions than you think, and more difference between modern people of the same religious group. Modern Hindus and modern Muslims will have much more commonality than modern Muslims and traditional Muslims. In the same way, are you getting the point? For example, the Hindus of Uttar Pradesh or the Muslims of Uttar Pradesh are much more different than the Muslims or Hindus of Kerala. On the other hand, the Muslims and Hindus of Kerala have much more similarity. Therefore, one should not communalize teaching. Try to understand the other in his or her own terms, own language, own lexicon. And then you have every right to reject it in practice. Therefore, there are two terms, lexis and praxis. Lexis and praxis. What is lexis? The doctrine of understanding, the doctrine of meaning is lexis, and the system of practice is praxis. Are you trying to get the point? Now, what you do? Take Weber's general sociology of action. Okay? Traditional action, traditional authority. The genesis, the origin of traditional authority is the hereditary priest class. Hereditary priests are traditional authority in any religious community. Now, in case we discuss the Indian scenario, then traditional authority was the Brahminical priest. And then emerged a prophet called the Buddha. Therefore, the first distinction will be the priest and the prophet. The priest and the prophet. Who is a priest? A priest is like the rational legal authority. A priest is like the rational legal authority. And the prophet is a charismatic authority. The prophets have charisma, whereas priests have socially recognized office in the traditional community. Therefore, the first distinction is between the priest and the prophet. For Max Weber, the priest represented traditional authority, and he had features of rational legal authority. Now, since you have not read the original book, you have read the commentary, therefore there will be some confusion because you are taught traditional, rational legal and charismatic. But once you read the book, you will understand it is not Max Weber's own description of the social situation. Even in the context of ideal type, Weber said that ideal type is not a real concept. It is analytical concept, heuristic concept. It is an aid for your understanding. Are you getting the point? The ideal type is neither the duster nor the mirror image of the duster. It is neither the matter nor the mirror of the matter. Rather, the ideal type is like the lamp or the, this mercury tube. It just lights the situation so that you can make your own opinion what it is. And how do you call it duster and not bonga? Because since childhood, the term bonga does not exist in your 26 letters alphabet. The day the 27th alphabet is introduced in the English language, everything will be topsy-turvy. To destroy your enemy, you need not have, atom bomb or hydrogen bomb or, pistol. Just one word or one letter is sufficient. Do you know how elephants are killed in the forest? Who kills the elephant? Never the lion, never the foxes, but the ant. Do you know this? Who is elephant? Charismatic leader of the forest. Therefore, Hindus have a god called Ganpati, Ganesh. Who is Ganpati? A charismatic leader. Why? You read the mythology of Ganesh. Who is Kartikeya? Rational legal authority. Ganpati, there is miracle. Charismatic authority or charismatic prophets have one quality, that they create miracle. They are medical healers and counselors. Therefore, at one end you have Israeli prophets before Moses, who were only ethical teachers. They told you this is X, this is Y, and it is up to you whether you find it better or good. The role of the traditional or classical teacher is only to make you aware about the world around you, biological, social, cultural, and cosmic, and religion includes all. At the other end, you have another prophet, Jesus. Jesus had not done much of the ethical teaching. He had produced miracles after miracles of healing, of counseling. Therefore, there is one type of prophet like Abraham. There is another type of prophet like Jesus. Abraham is ethical teacher like Socrates, like the Buddha, like Epicurus, like Brihaspati, like Sukracharya, like Confucius, like Lao Tzu. They are ethical teachers. They are prophets, but they are ethical teachers. Then there is Jesus. He has not done much of the teaching, and even if he has done, his popularity does not rest on his ethical teaching. The popularity of Jesus depends on miracles, magic. And I am ready to concede following Malinowski that maybe it was a super science which Jesus had with him. Therefore, you can compare Jesus with a magician, you can compare him with a super scientist like Albert Einstein or Isaac Newton, or you can also compare him with a healer, magical healer. But you cannot compare him with Moses or the Buddha. The Buddha or Abraham or Socrates, they are ethical teachers like Confucius or Chanakya or Brihaspati, that is Jupiter, or Sukracharya, that is Venus. They are ethical teachers. They give you a world of ethics, but they do not prescribe you what to do and what not to do. They give you ample freedom because they believe that you will have to reap the fruit of your karma. Theory of action sustains the ethical world of the earlier prophets. This is a stage 1. Then a stage 2 comes Moses. Moses is not only ethical teacher, there is ethics in him, definitely. But he is also a legislator. He legislates. He had given a sacred code to the Jewish community. And you have to follow him. In case you do not follow him, then you will be repressed. It is mechanical solidarity. You will be excommunicated. Now, you know that excommunication is not exclusive only to the Jew, the Jewish community. There are certain castes and tribes in India also which excommunicates in case you marry outside the caste or the lineage. Therefore, even if Max Weber is drawing from the Bible and referring to certain other religious groups, and sometimes he may be wrong. Sometimes he may be wrong. But that does not make Max Weber less useful. He is at least giving you how sociological terms are constructed and how society is constituted and how it is run and how it is reformed and how it is distorted. Who distorts the society according to Max Weber? Bureaucracy. Iron law of bureaucracy. Now, what is bureaucracy? The priestly class. You think bureaucrat is secular? No. Secular bureaucracy is a revival of the same priestly class. The only difference is that the priestly class was hereditary. The son or daughter of the priest will become the priest. Here, the bureaucrats need not be replicated in the family, but it is replicated. In practice, it is replicated. In theory, it is not replicated. Therefore, you will find that the upper caste Hindus, the upper class Muslims and Christians maintain their hegemony even in so-called secular systems. A very bad example, you may not like this. Most of the communist leaders of India have come from the Brahmin caste. But they also come from the lower class. Most communist leaders of India since M.N. Roy have come from upper caste but lower class. In the same way in Europe, most communist leaders and socialist leaders of Europe have come from status groups which were ranked higher. In Max Weber, you have power, status, and party. Who had power? Who had power? Prophet had power. Who had power? The prophet had power. And how power exercised? Power is not given, it is taken, snatched away. And they use force in the name of nationalism. Then it was in the name of religion. Now it is in the name of rationalism. Therefore, it is not only that Hindus are a religious group, or Muslims are a religious group, or Buddhists are a religious group, or Christians are a religious group. Nationalists are also religious group, and communists are also religious groups. This is Max Weber, not me. In case you are interested, I can give you the page number. In case you think you should read yourself, please read yourself. This is from chapter 4 of Sociology of Religion. Now, three ideal types. The Buddha. It is not me who has given the name Buddha. Max Weber said, in one category, there are prophets like the Buddha and the prophets of Israel. It is Max Weber himself. Then he said there are prophets like Moses, the legislators. And third, there are prophets like Jesus. They are the three ideal types of Max Weber in religion. Now where to put Muhammad? According to Max Weber, Muhammad had innovated in prophecy. What he did? The Buddha and the prophets of Israel, like Abraham, they were ethical teachers. They taught you and then they became indifferent to you. You behave the way you want. Then there was Moses. He said, do this, don't do this. And then there was Jesus. What he did the forbidden in the Jewish community. He defied the codex of Moses, therefore he was crucified. Of course, there was a resurrection, it was a miracle. There are two questions which Max Weber doesn't ask because of sectarian reason. Because his mother was a devotee of John Calvin. Now, what is the problem with him? In my opinion, he had been just to the Buddhists and the prophets of Israel, and he had been just to Jesus. He had been also just to Moses. But in my opinion, and the opinion of Brian Turner, and also the opinion of Syed Hussein Nasr, due to cultural illiteracy in Germany, then he could not understand Muhammad fully. He said that Moses had established a particular type of prophecy which was codified further by Muhammad. Therefore, he said, and this is a long paragraph, but in case, since there is not much time, I am borrowing from him, but giving you my own classification, which I will take later on. He says that, Buddha was only ethical teacher, number one. Moses was ethical teacher plus legislator. And third, Muhammad was ethical teacher plus legislator plus king, Khalifa. In the institution of Khalifa, he combined the three roles: the role of the king, the role of the legislator, and the role of the ethical teacher. And this is fine, but the interpretation which he gave is, in my opinion, problematic. In case you are interested, I can read it, but in case you wanted to read yourself exact lines of Max Weber, during Medina years, Muhammad's position was between Podesta and Calvin. I think you require my help to understand Podesta and Calvin. Podesta is a Latin term or Italian term, old Italian term or Latin term, which means, Podesta means impartial arbitrator detached from the interest groups. During Medina years, Muhammad's position was between Podesta and Calvin. You know Calvin because he had quoted profusely through Benjamin Franklin in the Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. Now there is a second sentence, revelation that the organization of the interest groups of warrior clans required a symbol from outside, like a new symbol. You will not understand the trick he is trying to play because the problem with Max Weber is not that this cannot be one of the possible conclusions. My charge is the following. When he is interpreting, he is over relying on Benjamin Franklin. He claims, I have not read John Calvin. Okay? The question is, the man knew neither Arabic. The man had not been ordained as a Muslim. Third, he is not quoting any well-known authoritative Islamic scholar as interpreter, the way he is quoting Benjamin Franklin. Are you getting the point? He does the same thing about the Hindus when he is interpreting the Vedas. He does the same thing roughly about the Buddhist and the Chinese people. Therefore, methodologically, I have problem with Max Weber. You should, follow uniform criteria. Either you read John Calvin himself or the New Testament yourself. And in case you are taking the help of a professional religious interpreter for Calvinism, you should also have the help of the professional interpreter for other religions. Nonetheless, you should not throw the book with the bathwater. There are problems with him. Nonetheless, it will make your life easier today. Now, there is another thing which is actually very smartly he is trying to say that Muhammad as a prophet was a powerful person. Nothing wrong in being powerful, but he said power is snatching the power from others unlawfully. Since I know the original German which his mother taught him, I can understand the trick he is trying to say. He is trying to say that he was a merchant. It is his term. Muhammad was a merchant. And he, merchant is Vaisya in your Indian term. He was a Vaisya, wanted to be a Kshatriya and then wanted to be a Brahmin at the same time. I think Muhammad was not doing this. This is his wrong reading. Are you trying to get the point? Because the concept of kingship which Max Weber operates with has been taken from the Pharaoh of Egypt, divine right of king, And then before Muhammad, there was Jesus who said that I am the son, I am the only son of God. Muhammad never claimed that he is a sacred person. He said only the Quran is sacred. Only the Allah is sacred. It is another matter that his followers have sanctified him. But they have not sanctified him for nothing. They have sanctified him because he has given them hadith. And from sociological point of view, to understand the Muslim community, one should read the Hadith and not the Quran, because Quran is not about justice and injustice of society. It is about the cosmos. It is a much bigger thing. In the same way, Vedas has nothing to do with the Hindu society. Hindu society can be understood only through a smriti. But the mistake of the Indologists and sociologists has been that they quote from Manu. Hindus have not one but 16 smritis. From Manu to Deval, they have 16 smritis. And in 16th century India, when Akbar was ruling over it, there was a deliberation in Agra fort, presided over by Akbar, where the last smriti of the Hindus was meticulously debated. No sociologist talks about that. Are you trying to get the point? Therefore, a smriti means constitution of society, the good and bad, how society will be run in the same way. The Muslim society is governed, constituted or developed by following the ethics of Hadith. Therefore, it is wrong to say that the primary role of Muhammad was that of legislator. He was also ethical teacher, and that is evident when you read the Hadith. In the same way, the Hindu society, Hinduism is not a religion or political ideology, it is a society, Hindu society, and it is governed by the Smriti Shastras. And there are 16 of them. And according to traditional Hindus like Mahatma Gandhi, Indian constitution, Gandhi was dead, but the Constituent Assembly was already in the making. And it was Gandhi's suggestion that B.R. Ambedkar should write it. And traditional Gandhians have been telling that Indian constitution is Ambedkar's Smriti. Because Ambedkar was born as a Hindu, he converted in Buddhism in 1956. Therefore, I am trying to say that please differentiate that there have been different types of prophets, and the meaning of prophecy has been changing from time to time. I will take it up tomorrow.